Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Taylor, my buddy Kenny, and today we are going to continue with Bricky's Every Warhammer 40k Faction Explained Part 2 Subsection B video, because he's so long. Last time we watched Chaos Gods or like Chaos Demons, Chaos Marines, Eldar, Dark Eldar. I believe this time we're going to start with the Harlequins is where we stopped.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I'm not gonna lie. After the last time we were recording, I probably stayed up till about 7 a.m. digging through online, and I ordered the Thousand Suns Combat Patrol box. I'm in, dude. Thousand Suns, all is dust. In. Let's go. Dust Boys. Magnus did nothing wrong. I'm there, dude. I'm already thinking of paint schemes. Like I can't wait for that thing to come in.
Yeah.
So if people want, I will try to figure out how to set up a camera, whatever, and maybe I don't know, time lapse. Maybe do something while I put these things together. I don't know. I'm a nerd. Like I'm a time lapse nerd. So I don't know. If people want something with us actually delving so down this Warhammer rabbit hole and really like getting into this hobby, since my ADD demands more hobbies to go to 90% completion and never go to 100. I don't care. I'll set up a camera. If the 4 people that watch this want to see it, you let me know. Comment below. Do all the YouTube things, like and subscribe or whatever until this, what is it again? ADD. If people want it, then they got to let us know. Otherwise, eventually, I'll get bored and stop editing videos. So keep me occupied. I don't know.
Yeah. I primed 1 mini today, so I'm pretty happy about that. And then
that's awesome.
We'll see where it goes. I think I'm still pretty much eventually gonna buy Dark Angels combat patrol bots.
Dude, Dark Angels look sick. Dark Angels look sick.
Yeah, or maybe it's Salamander, but I think I'm leaning more toward Dark Angel myself. So eventually I might get a camera set up to do time lapses and figure that out.
Yeah, all I have is an old GoPro that I used to use for recording stuff. I don't know. Again, I'm a time lapse nerd. I've already got time lapses of me doing an engine swap on a car, putting together Gundam model kits,
doing that.
So
I
don't mind busting out and dusting everything off for Warhammer. I'm in. Warhammer's freaking awesome. Warhammer's freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I'm loving this like setting.
Oh yeah, no, me too. Everyone's very dark.
Also, in case people are wondering, we'll finish the 40k Factions Explained. I actually really want to get to the Space Marines Factions Explained, or chapters, whatever it is. And then he has his re-explained one, and we'll watch that too. My question is, do we watch his timeline one? Do we still need to watch the timeline one? Or does the re-explain kind of cover the same stuff? Because I think his re-explained video is like in chronological order instead of like the way he's organized it now. So I don't know. Or we can just watch them all. I don't care. I'll watch them all. I thoroughly enjoy Bricky. I think he's a great content creator.
Oh yeah, I know. So, I mean, I
don't mind watching more. Any excuse.
And any excuse for us to react to more stuff.
But that's enough out of me. So
and enough.
I'm ready whenever you are, man. If you got more to add, go for it. Otherwise,
let's do it. I think everything looks good on my end. So let's do this.
All right.
But the Harlequins.
The Harlequins.
Clowns.
What's the matter?
Us clowns are your favorite.
The Harlequins are a bizarre race of Eldar. They're demonic clown performers. They're like a weird mix of Sander Cohen from BioShock and Jin from League of Legends, but in a more clown theme. They're artists of death and perfecters of their craft. They do not belong to Craft Worlds or any of the weird Drukhari people. They guard something called the Black Library, which is this giant tome of never-ending knowledge deep in the heart of the Eldar webway, and also guarded by their god named Kegorok, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He is the laughing god, but it's the Eldar's laughing god, and these are the Harlequins, the Harlequin clowns. These are Eldar clowns Okay, so imagine the things that an Eldar, these depraved individuals, would find funny. And this is the god of that.
Okay.
It's a horror clown. These are gods of horror for us normal people.
I'm getting real flashbacks to solo leveling right now. That's
I was thinking like some kind of Joker stuff, but
maybe It too type stuff.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah. No.
You never watched that, have you?
No.
Just say no. You don't even have to.
No.
You don't need to either, by the way. It's terrible.
Like, it's so funny.
Okay.
They're all dying horribly. Honk, honk. They're very bizarre and difficult to describe. They've escaped the ruinous powers of Slaanesh somehow, but their main thing is guarding that black library. And the Harlequins they're demon clown performers. They're barely any models on the tabletop. They're good in melee. They're demon clowns. I'm not sure. I got a quote. It is too easy for an Eldar to embrace the obscene virtues of chaos, for Slaanesh is nothing more than a manifestation of the Eldar mind in its most wild and unconstrained form. Human morality is meaningless to the Eldar, and to the dark side of the Eldar mind, all life is to be expended at a whim. Cruelty and generosity are but the impulse of a moment. Beauty and sensuality are virtues that can be expressed in bloodshed just as easily as in song. To an unfettered Eldar mind, there is neither sanity nor madness, but merely a wave of perfect existence fulfilled by its own savage momentum. They're very strange. Harlequins, Drukhari, Eldar, they are an anomaly that make humans seem completely easy to understand in comparison. They range from rekindling their civilization to horrifying murder and also clowns. They're all over the place, but honestly, they represent quite well and are rather interesting, especially with the whole Slaanesh murdering everyone bit. So, yeah, Eldar. Now, bugs.
Oh, now we're to the bugs.
Yeah, but, I don't know, man. I'm not feeling the Harlequins. They feel like an afterthought to me. It feels like someone was like, man, it would be cool if we could figure out a way to sell clown models. I mean, I don't know if there's more to it, but it feels like it's just like, we need more Eldar.
Here,
the Joker's
clowns.
Cool. Clowns are creepy. We'll just add some clowns to sell some like goofy clown models. I don't know. It feels like a business decision.
And maybe you're right. There's something more to it. I would actually.
I'm gonna piss off like the 5 Harlequin like fans. They'd be like, actually, they're very intricate. Blah blah blah. I don't know, dude. I'm just not. It's not for me.
At least,
and it's okay if it's for you. They're for Kenny for sure. They're probably Kenny's favorite so far.
No. You know better.
I ain't feeling it.
No, I would actually like to know if there's more of a reason why they're keeping Slaanesh other than, okay, they figured out a way. You know?
Oh, you mean like why they're like safe from
why they're
Slaanesh?
safe?
Well, I guess they serve like that other god. So there's no room.
Other god, so that other god just like keeps Slaanesh
if they're
away
guarding, if they're like guarding the Black Library, maybe that was like outside the influence or.
Okay.
Kind of like how the custodies are like, they guard the Emperor, you know, and they're kind of just like their own. We're off to the side here. We're not doing that other stuff. We have our duty to do this. Maybe homeboys are like, hey, we're guarding this Black Library. We don't have time for that other nonsense.
And I assume the Black Library had some very dark.
The Black Library is the where you buy all the Warhammer books to read all the stories.
Okay. I assume maybe that's not being truthful, but okay, we'll take it. But
Google that. Google the Black Library.
After we watch the rest of the video. So now we're to the bugs.
Tyranids. The Zerg. Whatever. I don't know.
Zerg.
The bugs from Starship Troopers.
Did Warhammer exist before Starship Troopers, I assume?
No. Starship Troopers is a book from like the 50s.
Oh, okay. Got
now,
it.
if you're before the movie Starship Troopers, I think it did. What Warhammer's like, what, probably 70s, 80s. I don't know.
Okay. No,
I would have to Google. I would have to Google that.
Now we
but
have
Starship Troopers is like old.
That's like based on.
But I mean, sci-fi. Everything influences each other, and everyone borrows ideas.
Yeah,
just like fantasy everything is influenced by Tolkien. Yeah. The concept of evil, space bugs driven by their instinct to consume is not a unique thing. I mean, heck, just look at like how grasshoppers and like locusts and stuff, like how they behave in real life. They just like swarm and consume
everything,
crops and all kinds of stuff. This is just taken to another level.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why we fight a bunch of bugs and helldivers, and you have the Zerg and Starcraft. Yeah. An enemy that can breed generations and adapt to like all these things real quick is scary. The xenomorphs in Alien, right? They call them bugs as a slang. They're not really bugs, but they have kind of some of those insect or bug-like qualities to them. Exoskeletons. They're all goopy and wet, and they're not full. They don't have whatever.
Yeah,
and they adapt. Now they adapt because they're more like parasites. But
okay,
hit the sucker.
Yeah, let's learn about the bugs.
Oh, they following me, Ma. They following me. The bugs.
The bugs.
The Tyranids. Now, you want to talk something a little more fun, a little more simple than all this crazy Eldar shenanigans? Let's talk the Tyranids. They're bugs. Do they look like Zerg? Hell yeah, they look like Zerg. You want to know why they look like Zerg? Because they were actually supposed to be what Zerg were. Apparently StarCraft was supposed to be a 40k game in the beginning. Hence why they look so much like Eldar, Zerg, and the Imperium of Man. Like kind of Space Marine-y. Those Marines, huh? They look a little bit Space Marine-y to me. Maybe. I don't know. You really fucked up on that one, Games Workshop, didn't ya? Tyranids are a giant infestation of unfathomable proportions. These are giant, extremely bio-advanced hive mind organisms that are basically all about absorbing as much biomass as they possibly can to evolve and mutate to be extremely potent and powerful and kill and eat anything in their path. They are probably the least evil faction in all of 40k because all they want to do is eat shit. They want to nom nom the entire galaxy. They hangry and we food. Also, this Tyranid hive mind has a presence in the.
That's a cool model.
All their stuff is cool.
I despise the things in Space Marine 2.
Oh, Tyranids?
No,
whatever,
this unit specifically.
that thing. Okay, I gotcha.
This thing specifically, I hate this thing. But
it's bad. It's blasting that dude.
Yep.
Warp. In fact, Tyranids in their own right have a massive presence in the warp. They have a thing called the shadow in the warp specifically, where when they are coming in to invade a planet, they have this weird ability to kind of cut off the warp on all the psychers on that planet.
So
and
EMP.
how do you get help across the stars? Well, you need the warp because you need that for interstellar travel. So with people unable to call for help from the Tyranids, these are just easy pickings. And an entire giant Tyranid hive fleet comes out of orbit and just will massacre, absorbing all that biomass and turning them and all of their other Tyranids into even more advanced monsters. They come in so many varieties too, all based on what is important. Tiny little ripper swarms for scouting and having little dudes eat people up, to the Hormigons, Termagants, and Gene Stealers, all the way to the Hive Guard and the Exocrines and the Swarm Lord, to Hive Tyrants and their giant battle fleets, and even something as crazy as the Hierophant Bio Titan. The Tyranids come in all forms and sizes depending on what they require. They are extremely good at anti-biological weaponry. There is no way you can plague them or blight them. They have extremely strong armor, carapaces and such. Tyranids are nigh perfect organisms and are pretty spooky when it comes down to how they handle all of their genetic material. Keep feeding them, they'll keep evolving. They keep on creating new horrifying organisms to spread across the galaxy. And you know what the most terrifying part of the Tyranids is? We might be surrounded. There have been around 6 or 7 Tyranid hive fleets. Behemoth, Kronos, all these different kinds of hive fleets. And they've all arrived in the galaxy from different points. Different sections of the Milky Way galaxy have had different Tyranids come through. And that is horrifying. Because as far as we know, we could just be surrounded on all sides by Tyranids. The only reason you may not hear a whole lot about Tyranids is because it's a little bit hard to have a bunch of story off of one hive mind genocidal monsters. All these giant bugs swarming in, killing and eating everybody and evolving. I mean, as cool as there are some cool characters, the Swarm Lord, Old One Eye, you can't really have a whole bunch of major character-based stories around them. As awesome as they are, they're simple. They want to eat you. They want to eat you and absorb your biomass. They are simple bugs. If you want something a little more complex, talk gene stealer cults.
I can have all the pot I want. I get around fast.
So, the bugs are just...
So I guess the idea is maybe that he's, I don't know, putting forth, hypothesizing, is that like they've already consumed other galaxies or they're from another galaxy and now they're coming into ours. Like they're coming into the Milky Way and like to consume it. Like they've already, maybe the thought is they've already wiped out other ones and now they're just
sitting here.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's like I mean, it literally is a swarm. It's just to consume.
Yeah.
You got to go where the food is. And once you've consumed everything in a star system or a galaxy, you move on to the next.
Yeah. So, and maybe it's me not knowing. So all 40k takes place in one universe, or just like
it's in the Milky Way. It's in this galaxy.
It's in
like Earth is Terra. Like it's literally, it's literally our galaxy.
Okay. So
the humans have spread throughout our solar system and have now gone to other solar systems in the galaxy.
Milky Way.
The Eldar, all these things are just different parts of the galaxy. But now, like everyone's evolved enough to where you have all the interstellar, travel to where now everyone's clashing like together, right?
Okay, got you. the universe is not so small now, at least in the galaxy.
And I guess this is where did the I almost said Zerg, where the Tyranids come from. Well, they're coming from outside of our galaxy. Like I don't know. I'm assuming that outside the Milky Way isn't unknown. They haven't gone to other galaxies yet. Yeah.
Because they're
that's going to be Warhammer 50k.
Yeah, 50k.
Warhammers. They've found another one. I don't know. I'm not going to give them ideas. They're going to be like, more plastic model kits for you to buy.
Model. Okay, so I've heard things about the Gene Stealers. So you've
heard about Warhammer 40k, but have you heard about the other universe or the other galaxy, Battle Axe? Whatever. Battle Axe 72. Shit.
Okay.
You still playing Warhammer 40k? Oh, dog, you got to get on Battle Axe 72k. Way better.
It's 72k.
It's 32 more Ks.
Yeah.
Better.
Everything
way
better. Bigger numbers.
Yeah.
Way
where
bigger
all the
numbers.
Dwarves are. Look, I'm not going to lie. I am sad that there is no 40k Skaven faction that I can play at. Otherwise, I would have a space sci-fi Skaven army on the tabletop.
There isn't.
Where's a space Skaven codex? That's what I want, with big warp crystals and powering spaceships and I guess it's hard to dig tunnels through. Well, I can tunnel through the warp. I don't know. Dude, I want Skaven are awesome. Hey, Skaven are awesome.
I didn't realize
give me space Skavens. I love it.
Yeah. Continue.
Than walking, and wherever I need a seat,
I can just sit on my balls.
Gene stealer cults are a special brand of Tyranid that can slowly infect themselves into different kinds of society. And by infecting them, they can rise up to where they all pray and believe in these regular humans, pray and believe into their Tyranid hive mind gods. And these brood lords, and I think they're called patriarchs, all can turn an entire world all based into gene stealers, and these are called gene stealer cults. An entire hive world of the Imperium can be turned into nothing but servants to the Tyranid masters just by infecting them and screwing with their genetic code a little bit. They also have this cool Mad Max look, which is really neat. They are definitely one of the bigger threats to the Imperium besides Chaos. I keep saying biggest threat to the Imperium. They're up there though, because you, dingus, stepped on a bug in middle school. Asshole. There is a cancer eating at the Imperium. With each decade, it advances deeper, leaving drained, dead worlds in its wake. This horror, this abomination, has thought and purpose that functions on an unimaginable galactic scale. And all we can do is to try to stop the swarms of bioengineer monsters it unleashes upon us by instinct. We have given the horror a name to salvage our fears. We call it the Tyranid race. But if it is aware of us, it must know us as nothing but prey. Tyranids, they're cool. But are they as cool as the Orks?
No.
We've gotten to
so I guess the gene stealer cults are kind of like your sleeper cell.
Your sleeper cell.
I guess they're, I don't know if they're infected people or whatever, but then they go in, they destabilize, I guess, a planet and then make it easier for the Tyranids to come in and eat everybody.
Yeah. They're like the sleeper. Yeah, sleeper agents and
terrorists. But
okay.
That's pretty wild. Their models are wild. I've looked at some of them. They got 3 arms, and there's all kinds of asymmetry going on.
Yeah.
But not that typical chaos weird mutation stuff. It's mutated with a purpose. I don't know. That's more a weird way to describe.
More like adaptation.
Yeah, but that's a weird way to describe stuff, right? They have adaptations. There you go.
Yeah.
They're cool. They're interesting. Their vehicles look kind of neat.
Okay. I'm gonna take a look.
I think on the tabletop when you play as gene stealers, I think you can also supplement your army with Tyranid units too, so you kind of get
that's cool.
Maybe
so
best of both worlds.
Of both.
Yeah, which is pretty neat. I think that's cool. I guess that kind of makes sense, kind of like playing Imperial stuff, and then you can add in those Imperial agents or the assassins. I wonder if it's a similar mechanic or rule set.
Do they have a codex for themselves, or
I think so. I think you can play just straight up gene stealer cult.
Okay, that's interesting.
I guess that's a good question. I don't know if it's you get a Tyranid codex and then gene stealer cult in there, or
kind of
that's a quick Google.
Yeah,
they're cool. I think the Tyranid stuff is cool. I mean, it's Zerg. I used to be a Zerg player back in StarCraft, so I was the jerk that would Mutalisk rush you right at the beginning of the game.
Oh, you were that dude.
I would just tech tree straight to Mutalisks and then just send me waves of Mutalisks into your base and just wipe you out. You're done.
Yeah.
Especially if you were Protoss, because you had no anti-air at the beginning.
And I was Protoss, so I knew that trick very, very well.
Oh, what am I going to do? Send a bunch of Zerglings? No. 2 your Protoss guys will wipe out 25 Zerglings. No. We're going straight to Mutas.
Oh, the Mutas.
And I will fly and park them right over your little SCVs or your little gatherer dudes. What did Protoss have? Wisps or something that, right?
Wisps,
I can't remember. I'll just sit there. They had that the ricochet or whatever effect. Just park it right over your supply line and just ricochet, just kill all those dudes, and then move in. The only thing Terrans were pretty good at countering that because Marines could shoot up in the air. And if you had a bunker, you get a ton of Marines in that bunker and you'll just shred them. But in that case, I'm flying around to the back and sitting on your SCVs.
Yeah.
You don't need any of that Vespian gas or whatever.
Yeah, and you're starving for resources, basically.
It has been a long time since I played some Brood War.
Oh,
I think that's why I like the Tyranids. It reminds me of high school and playing Brood War in high school.
I never actually played StarCraft 1, I only have experience in like 2. Number 2.
Oh, you're the person that played StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, what was it like playing against bots? I don't know. I don't know how they messed that game up. I mean, I guess I kind of do, but
I mean, we do, but
you had like the super popular RTS, like huge in Korea, huge in UK or Europe,
for about a year. I mean, they had like a bunch of esports stuff in Korea.
What we'll do is we'll take StarCraft 2 and split it over the course of 3 games. No one's buying our game. Well, I never bought it because I was like, I'm not going to buy a third of a game.
Yeah, like a third faction. Yeah, and then
no, like they split the game into 3 parts. Yeah, at least like one part. Dude, I'm not buying an episodic.
I never actually
game.
Bought the other 2 or No, I think I bought them for like $5. 10 years after. That's what I did.
Blizzard sale or something.
Yeah.
I would rather just play Brood War.
Mm-hmm.
I need to look and see if Tyranids have something like the Hydralisks were always cool. Some of these dudes kind of look like Hydralisks. Do they have something like the Ultralisk, the big 4-legged one with the big, like, I don't know what you want to call it. They're almost like tusks coming out like an elephant. I need to look at Tyranid units. That might be another. I've already thrown in with Thousand Suns, but I would love to have Astromilith Harem.
And
Deathcore Krieg looks super cool. I'm a Tyranid enjoyer, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Orks.
Okay.
But I played a Black Orc in Age of Reckoning, so that's probably why.
Yeah, okay. Okay, let's hear about the Orks.
Yeah.
I'm red! That means I'm super fast!
Orks. Orks. Love orcs. So, yes, the green monsters, the green tide, the green skins. These orcs, they are in fact a race in 40k. The orcs are as exactly what you expect them. They have archaic weapons, they're big boys, they have axes, and they have got big old teeth, and they want to kill everything, and there are so many of them. The only reason they haven't taken over the entire galaxy is they can't stop murdering each other. Orcs are so cool. Orcs don't have philosophy. Orcs don't have existential crisis. What matters is who's the biggest orc. You listen to that guy because he's the biggest orc.
Yeah.
He big orc knows best. You win through the power of imagination. Of all the races I have battled throughout the galaxy, the orc is the hardest to comprehend. They wage war with machines that should not work, care little for strategic gains, and are just as likely to slaughter each other as the enemy. How does one battle an enemy that defies all logic? As an orc, you're enjoying life. You're enjoying the life you're given. Your whole life and job and purpose is to get up and beat each other to death because you can. The biggest orc is the man who understands everything. He is the boss. And orcs have this really weird, big, dumb, stereotype British accent, which is just hilarious to me. Those are orcs. You fight. You like to fight. Your whole purpose is to fight. You wage war because you want to wage war. You got your boss over there, and you better listen to the boss, because if you don't listen to the boss will squish you and make you an example for the other orcs. And then you can't fight because orc dead. And orc dead can't fight because orc dead. Orcs. They scrap together machines out of parts that don't make any sense. That's because they believe, they have the mental imagination.
That's hilarious. So
it looks like a little kid playing with a box of Legos. Where you're just like, it's like a piece of junk. You're like, no, this is an interstellar spaceship, stupid. Like, how do you not see this? It's
a spaceship. How do you not?
Like when I was a kid, I had like a paper box that like copy paper would come in, like the reams of copy paper, whatever. It's just full of Legos, and you would just cobble together stuff, and you'd be like, "Yep, spaceship, obviously." This 64 Impala. How do you not see this?
How do you not see this?
It's like 400 colors, and it looks like trash. You know?
Yeah, but hey, you'd see it. That's what matters. Yeah. But these are actually working machines somehow.
Yeah. awesome.
that machine will run, it'll run. If that machine's out of gas, you're driving that machine with your fellow orcs, and the biggest orc is behind the wheel, and you run out of gas, some orc behind you is like, oh, Zog, we're out of gas. And the big orc is like, no, we're not. I filled the fucking gas tank up earlier. And all the other orcs are like, oh yeah, you did do that. And then you turn the fucking mech back on, and it works again. Does it have gas? Probably not. But it works. The power of imagination. They paint things red because it makes them think they goes faster. They paint things purple because it's the sneakiest color. You want to know why? You ever seen a purple orc? Didn't fucking think so. Orcs are also like ancient as hell. They're back in the Eldari time frame. But back then they were called Orks, and they were much larger and scarier and far more intelligent. Now they're just orcs, and they're big, dumb,
so
and they
cool.
smack
I
things.
bet orcs are super fun to paint.
Pretty spooky.
Oh yeah.
They're not very well armored, but they hit really hard, and it's called the Green Tide because there are so many orcs. There are about as many orcs as there are Tyranids. Oh. Maybe more. Who knows? But they keep on, murdering each other, so it's not too bad of an issue. Orcs are entirely comic relief. Their stuff is slapped together. Yeah. That makes no sense. Their vehicles
dude, I bet it's so fun to like kit bash like orc models for tabletop.
It works because they imagine that it works.
Take like a
Orcs care only about who is the biggest orc, and they will follow the biggest orc. Put it on your back. And then if they want to be the biggest orc, they'll challenge the biggest orc. And then when they go and they issue a wa is just war in orc, they murder everybody and everything in this giant tide of green orcs who are just excited to be hitting something. So they don't care that they're hitting Eldar or.
So it's like Berserker Rage, pretty much. All the time.
Yeah, they're like barbarians, right? They just want to fight. And they don't care who they're fighting, each other, other aliens. They don't have like these like grand aspirations to, like the humans want to expand across the galaxy to like further the empire, right? Or whatever, right? Dreams of expansion and domination.
Yeah.
The Eldar, the Craft World guys are trying to redeem their race and rebuild, the Dark Ones are just trying to chop people up. Like the Orcs seem, the Tyranids just want to eat. The Orcs just want to fight. Both simple, easy to understand. I like their power of imagination. If everyone believes it works, it works.
It works somehow.
Yeah. But yeah, I think having some orc models in kit bashing, like, oh, let me take these pieces of these like
other
like Mechanicum dudes or these pieces of the Imperial Guard and cobble together like vehicles and tech would be cool. I bet you could get some kits, and if you have a Dremel and you're cutting stuff up and gluing stuff together, it works like canon wise. No one would be like, dude, that's a whatever, you took a Land Raider. Yeah, I did. It's awesome now. Now it's orc.
I did. Now it's orc.
Slap some rivets on it and go to town.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun for like the modeling hobby aspect.
Yeah. I mean, they might be the easiest to paint because it's like, oh, I screwed up, and then it's like, no, I didn't.
It's orky. It looks like it's just who cares? Like paint it red, it goes fast.
Go fast. Or paint it purple. You can't see me.
Sneaky orcs.
Sneaky.
Color of stealth. I didn't know that was the color of stealth.
I did not know that either. That's very interesting. Like, get that started.
The Imperium or Tau or anyone in between. They're just so they get to beat shit up.
Throwing the dude off and
on tabletop, they are a total
look how cool they are.
And they're really fun. I have never met a salty orc player. I have never met someone who plays orcs and is ever just a bad guy that guy. Awesome. Orc players have this kind of fun to them because when you play them, you are completely submitting yourself to RNG. So here's the thing. Guardsmen, Imperial Guardsmen, when they shoot, they roll a dice, and on a 4 up, they'll hit their target. They have a 50% chance. Space Marines, pretty good. They hit on a 3 or higher because they're well trained.
So
Adeptus Custodians, they hit on 2s because they're just super well trained. Orcs, they hit on a 5 or higher. But if they roll a 6, they get to make another shot with anything. From the dinkiest pistol to the biggest rocket launcher. It doesn't matter. Half of their stuff will blow up on a whim.
So cool.
One of their medics, if you roll a 1 to heal someone, you fuck up your surgery and you just kill an orc. They're so wacky and silly. But the thing is if you roll well, you roll high, and you keep rolling high, you are going to crush people. And if
you said that with the army
that's
for you?
No, that is not the army for me.
I know.
They don't know.
To say.
I have the worst rolls on the earth.
He does.
Or if you want to see someone roll ones in an improbable way, I'm your dude. To the point where I just assume all my dice are defective. I may have dice ghosts, not sure. I have a rack full of dice because once they roll too many ones, they're cursed now and I have to get rid of them. It's not good. I have to buy, you could give me a weighted die that rolls 20s 80% of the time, whatever. I'll show you how to roll ones on that thing. I am the worst. I am the worst. And so I fully know that I will lose when we start actually playing Warhammer on the tabletop. I don't expect to ever win because I'm sure I will never make a save ever. It'll just constantly be ones. I'll be like, oh, let's Overwatch whatever. Oh, look, snake eyes. Cool. Sweet.
And yes, I have witnessed this in person. It's
That said, there's nothing stopping me from buying a bunch of orc stuff and painting it.
And painting it. I mean, that
God, they look so cool.
Yeah,
I do not really want to paint checker patterns, but I have some tricks for that with an airbrush. So.
Yeah.
You lose. I mean, that's what you get when you play orcs. That's what happens when you play orc. It's a coin flip, which is why you can't be a salty bitch when you play orcs because things won't go your way. It's just the roll of the dice. You're playing a dice game. But if you're gonna have fun and you want to be stupid and you want to be silly, you're gonna play some damn orcs. But on the opposite side of the fun part of this, let's talk about the Necrons.
Now we're finally to the Necrons.
Damn, that was the Flopatron playing Doom.
Oh, yeah?
You can't fool me. Unless I'm wrong.
The Necrons are scary skeletons.
Did you want to talk any more about orcs or no?
About orcs?
Or did I just do that already?
No, you kind of solved it.
What are your thoughts on the orcs?
My thoughts is I probably would be to actually play them. I'd probably be too scared to play them at my first rates because army because I would probably not.
I'm not gonna lie. The main reason why you're like, buy Darktide, we'll play Darktide. No, I can't play as an orc. I don't care.
Oh yeah,
I can't play as a dwarf or an orc or anything cool. I have to be like some dork. No, orcs, not dorks.
Yeah,
the orcs are super cool. I'm probably gonna end up getting some orc kits.
Their model definitely look cool.
I looked at their new combat patrol, the beast snagga boys or whatever. They look sick. They got the squigs. They look super cool. And you get a bunch of them in that box. You get like 30 something dudes in there.
30, wow.
You get a lot. I mean, they're a horde army like Astra Militarum is. So you get a whole bunch of dudes.
That means
which is cool. I have no problem with this.
Yeah.
More gray things to sit on my desk.
More gray.
I'll get to it eventually. Yep.
Yeah.
I think the Necrons are super cool too, but I have that whole dry undead Egyptian mummy fetish, which is why I went Thousand Suns because mummy magic in space. But Necrons look cool. I like their aesthetic. I like the glowing green stuff. I bet those would be pretty cool to paint.
Definitely. Yeah, but for the
skeletons
orcs,
are cool.
Those are my thoughts so far. I know
kind of a necromancer vibe going on over here.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's see. And their magic commander deck's pretty fun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think I can't remember. I get confused. They might have the vehicle mechanic where you actually have your creatures or what you summon like man the vehicle, and they get more bonuses for manning that vehicle.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of fun.
Yeah, I would know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a much more fleshed out lore than before. Back in the day, they were just undead Egyptian space terminators, and they still look that way, but now they actually have a story. So way back in the day, you had the Necron tier. Kind of see a theme here: Eldari, Eldar, Krork, Ork, Necron, Necron tier. So the Necron tier were this race of generally kind of shitty people. Not because they were personally shitty, because their lives were awful. They were ill-fated to a horrible existence of like radiation and a terrible planet they lived on, and everything just really sucked. Being a Necron tier was just really depressing. They really were looking for immortality. They were extremely reliant on the hope that they would eventually find the key to living forever and just stave off this horrible nature that they were thrust upon them, and therefore they could become the most dominant race in the galaxy. And they found this group. They're called the Old Ones. Imagine them kind of like the Forerunners in Halo or the Xel'Naga in StarCraft, right? These Old Ones were these strong, pretty much omnipotent beings. And they, of course, knew the key to immortality. So the Necrons went to them and said, please, show us your ways. And the Old Ones said, piss off. Not really. They were a lot more humble about it, but they did not want to share the secret of immortality with the Necron.
They didn't want to share. Like,
yeah, I assume these are like super aliens or whatever. I guess you said if they're like the Xel'Naga or whatever.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, we don't want to share our secrets.
Who's borrowing lore from whom at this point? Because if these things are kind of like the Xel'Naga made the Zerg, I guess they made a lot of the races. I think they made the Protoss. I don't remember my StarCraft lore. It's been a long time. It's not relevant information anymore because they're not doing nothing with it.
No, the IP kind of dead. So
Blizzard's pretty much fucking toast. Those guys. That's a video for another day.
Yeah, it's
the Necrons, of course, took this very well and waged war with them, kind of under this united banner. The Necron different dynasties didn't really like each other, but under this one man, the Silent King, he thought the best way to unite his race was to do this giant war with the Old Ones out of spite for them keeping the secret of immortality to them. This was known as the War in Heaven, and this is actually like a multi-stage war, because during this War in Heaven, they discovered the Star Gods, a whole new race of people known as the Catan, or the Catan. These Star Gods were also very much like Old Ones, almost omnipotent beings, and they too had the key to immortality. And so the Necrons went to them and said, hey, can you help us fight off the Old Ones? Can you help us kill these Old Ones, you, the Catan? And the Catan said, yes. In fact, we can help provide you with the immortality you so desperately seek. So the Silent King of the Necrons decided to make a pact with the Catan to allow them to accept this generous gift of immortality upon them. But this, of course, had been a horrendous trap, and the Necrons were dragged in chains to this biotransference where their flesh was stripped from them, replaced with nothing but a metal hollow shell.
So, bad deal.
Yeah.
Not what they thought. Maybe.
This is your monkey paw. This is your monkey paw.
Yeah, this is different than monkey paw.
This is a monkey paw. Yeah.
Yes. That's what I would refer to. This type of deal.
As their souls were ripped from their body and fed to the
That's why it's important to have a contract lawyer to read any agreement that you sign with an elder god or turbo space alien or whatever, you know?
Yeah, double check the fine print. Don't just say, hey,
address concerns with the verbiage in the contract. What is this? I think we might need to reword this. You know?
Yeah, being dragged into a biotransference chamber, and that's how.
Well, that wasn't in the contract. Probably they didn't spell that part out.
No.
It was left intentionally vague.
Yeah, we're just gonna give you immortality. Okay.
Sounds great. Did they? Yes, they did. Was it what you were thinking?
No.
Absolutely not. No.
Definitely not. They got really screwed.
Chonk on the souls of the Necrons. As this was their plan all along, they consumed the flesh and souls of the Necron tier and turned them all into unwilling robotic slaves just to serve their will. And then, with their newfounded Necron army, they pointed their guns at the old ones, and the Catan continued their domination of the stars and their genocide, complete and full genocide of these old ones. The old ones did their best to stave it off. They even created other races, the Eldari and the Orks, to try to fight off the horrifying Necron army.
Wait,
that's real. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the old ones that they were fighting against created.
Well, like look at the parallel, right? The star gods show up and like, I'm gonna help you boys out, but really they turned them into an automaton army, right?
For them, and then they got super powerful
to fight against the whatever. So then the old ones are like, "Yo, we don't have an army. Let's make one. We need help." So then they make the Eldar and the Orks. The Eldar being like turbo psychers, right? Are really good at it. Yeah. And then the Orks being on the physical side, so like, cool, now we have an army. Now
we can just send them and fight the Necrons.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And the Catan above them, but there was absolutely no possible chance for them. And the old ones were absolutely extinguished across the galaxy.
Yeah, Necrons are awesome.
Their entire race completely removed. Full on 100% genocide. However, during all this, the Catan, so just infatuated with their victory, started fighting each other for fun, for sport, and for small differences. Doesn't matter. The Catan, with these overpowered people, they're going to eventually hit each other at some point. And as they began just menially fighting each other, the Eldari and the Orks actually started pushing on the Catan's borders a little bit, giving them a little bit of a run for their money. And as this continued, this is when the Silent King, who retained his consciousness, decided to leap into action and start a full-scale revolt against their Catan masters. And this revolt was bloody, as the entire Necron army was surged off to destroy these star gods. They were able to, just after suffering horrendous losses, were able to turn the tide of the war. And they took these Catan and they blasted them. Because as these star gods are unkillable, they were able to break them into thousands of shards and entrap them in giant stasis vaults to now actually be slaves to the Necrons. And with the Necrons having the entirety of their old gods enslaved to them, they realized that soon their race was about to be attacked by the overcoming new races, the Eldari and the Orks. And so what they did is they retreated into giant stasis tombs in order to preserve their energy and their strength for when one day they would be reawakened and they would be able to rule the galaxy that was rightfully theirs. And then some dingus Adeptus Mechanicus guy diddled with a green console, and now the Necrons are back and they see all these primitive races on their lawns, and they think, get the fuck off of it. The Necrons are back, super advanced, and they are here to reclaim the galaxy that they so rightfully believe is theirs. And on a tabletop, they're a lot like that.
Oh, that's cool.
They're super cool. Again, I like
Spider-Mech.
Yeah. Give me liches, give me undead, give me skeletons.
So it looks like the humans woke up these guys.
For sure. Yeah. So like the Adeptus Mechanicus are all about like searching for like lost like tech and stuff. Tech.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, they're like curiosity killed the cat kind of thing, you know?
Oh boy. Of course. And they
it's like everything to make everything worse, right?
Yeah.
I think the Necrons are super cool. I like all the glowy green stuff. That'd be fun to paint.
If you could get some like plastic, like some see-through plastic for the guns and PVC or something, that would look really cool. Even like
you know what those dudes remind me of? They remind me of I can't believe I'm saying this. Like the Metallo dude from Superman. Why do I know this? I don't even like DC. Metallo was cool though, but he had like the kryptonite like deal and fought Superman. I don't know. We asked Wilson. He'll give you a deep dive on Metallo.
Oh yeah, sure. I imagine.
But then the face just reminds me of it from the old like Justice League, whatever Superman cartoon. You know.
Justice League Unlimited, maybe.
Oh yeah, something like that.
I don't know. Yeah. It's been a long time since I do that.
Like. I'm with you. I like that walker. I like the gun that's underneath it on like the belly.
Oh yeah,
it's
I didn't even see cool. That. Yeah. I imagine a whole bunch of UV paints for this race.
Yes.
And
this is the Warhammer problem. I'm sure the people who are watching us watch this fully understand. It's not where do I start, what army, it's what armies, where do I go? Like how do I go? Like Thousand Suns, dude, I actually am a Chaos enjoyer. I think their models are super interesting. Yeah. There's a lot going on. So it keeps my ADD from getting bored. Like Emperor's Children is literally like an ADD like army, it looks like, with noise marines and sword guys. But
I mean,
Thousand Suns, Emperor's Children. I think I probably wouldn't run one, but I think the World Eaters look super cool.
Yeah,
but Necrons, Orks, Astra Militarum. Oh, I love it all. I love it all except for Eldar. I think the Eldar is the only thing I don't like.
I do like Eldar. I do like how they look. I don't know their tabletop. I would like too much.
I wouldn't even thinking about that. I'm looking from an aesthetic standpoint.
From an aesthetic standpoint,
I just don't like elves. I'll say it. I just don't like elves. I'm not an elf enjoyer in anything. Elves are stupid. I have too much dwarf in me.
So you know,
too much dwarf in me.
I really eventually I'm probably gonna get the Death Watch.
Give me a beer and an axe. Call me a dwarf, dude. I'm a dwarf enjoyer.
Models, you know.
Oh yeah, just to paint some up.
Or maybe in the Dark Angels army, I'll do the. I really like that the pauldron, the writing on their pauldrons. That's what I like aesthetically.
Go for it. Yeah. We're getting on a tangent.
Yeah, we're getting on a tangent. Yeah.
Tons of undead Egyptian skeleton robots that when they die, they just get right back up because they keep on reanimating. Hard to kill. Tons of crazy stuff. You can use the Catan themselves as units to fight with.
That's really
pretty cool.
Oh,
the Necrons are one of the three major events in 40k. The Horus Heresy, the Fall of the Eldar, and the Awakening of the Necrons are all pretty substantial events. And the Necrons themselves are pretty dang cool as well. Here's a good quote from a wonderful Dawn of War game. Lucky creatures, as long last you have found the tranquility of death. I was like you once, clinging to life and blind to the truth. When I uncovered the truth, I too shuddered and paled with fear. Deep in these catacombs, I was remade. Here, my brethren slumbered for eons while the living grew like weed. My Lord knew this day would come. He had plans for us all. We would purge this world once more. So come, poor victims of life. We will grant you tranquility in these crypts. Kronos will be a tomb world once more. Necrons are also pretty smug. Trazen the Infinite especially, a little dickhead. But speaking of dickheads, last race.
Okay.
Let's talk the Tau.
Let's see if it's...
Oh, I forgot the Tau existed. All right, so I am fully on board with the Necrons.
Yeah.
I enjoy the Necrons a lot. I am a Necron enjoyer. Again, undead, skeletons,
undead
liches, whatever. The Egyptian theme to it, it's cool. I dig it.
Yeah, kind of like I think the Tomb Kings in
Tomb Kings.
Fancy. So very similar. It seems, or not.
I'm
similar,
sure that's the parallel.
The parallel, yeah, exactly.
I just noticed that in the pause, he's got an anime girl's skirt and thighs.
Well, that's why
a little bit of absolute territory there for you degenerates. But I I do want to paint up some Necrons. I think their vehicles look cool in a weird, not like an orc kit bash kind of way, but like an unorthodox, like, what is with this? Have you seen their like troop carrier thing?
No,
you ever seen that model? It's like looks like a skiff or something, and I guess it's got like a hover deal, but it's got like all these Necrons like inside of it, like they just like fall out. Oh, yeah, you know what it's like? You know, Helldivers when the robot transports fly over and they just start like dropping the dudes out. It looks similar to that. I'm sure that's influenced by Necrons. Yeah. It's cool because it's like there's no, and I guess if they're functionally immortal, right? Because they just regenerate. There's no like effort to protect the people in the transport. Where like the Orks are just like a bunch of dudes in the back of a pickup truck. The Necrons are like, oh, who cares? Because we're just gonna get back up. So they're just all gonna get exposed. Back up or
transfer the more consciousness.
Lots of like exposed kind of bits on the models. Where just like I said, who cares about defense? Although I think there are some that have like shields and stuff. Like the Necron warrior models look kind of cool.
I would assume so, but yeah, for the most part, their army doesn't really care.
I need to look. I don't know if they're like point and shooty or if they're more like stabby, you know,
stabby or glass cannon,
or maybe a mix of both. I think that is like the revive mechanic, though. I think you can roll like dice to like bring guys back onto the heal or to heal.
Now that's pretty cool. Then
so that seems pretty neat. And I don't know if they're like a horde. You would think something like that would be a horde army, but I don't know if that's the case. I need to look into it
without looking up. But now
if I build another whatever, or just pick up a combat patrol or whatever, right?
Yeah.
If it's not chaos, it's either going to be Necron or Astra Militarum, probably. No. The only reason why not Orc is because my rolls suck.
But you probably pick
otherwise I would have been Orc all the way.
Oh no, I know. I'm more plain straight and narrow myself. So
if it's someone out there, if there is a way to not rely entirely on RNG for Orcs, please let me know, because I can roll ones like the best. But
if
I have to hit roll a 5 or a 6, I will never see that die.
Oh no, never. Okay, so
I believe Mike has a Tau army, is what he used to play.
Yeah, okay, so
back when he was in college.
I don't know much about the Tau at all.
I know they have mech suits, which is cool. That's it.
That sounds awesome. Let's see.
The exact formation of the Tau Empire is not entirely understood. However, a long time ago, many thousands of years ago, in the 40k world that is, some Imperial navigation vessels were going around through different areas, and they saw a primitive race, blue people, smacking each other with sticks and stones. They thought, dumb Xenos race, who gives a shit, and they bailed. Then this giant warp storm occurred right in that major area, unable to be breached. Then, once that warp storm 6,000 years later subsided, hello, those little sticks. Oh. Well, they decided to actually have no war of any kind and all just unite together under one flag of the Tau Empire. And now they have gigantic starships and Gundam robots and lasers and railguns and mechs, and they are here to ruin your day for the greater good. That is generally the Tau Empire. They have this kind of feeling of this homogenous group. All species can go underneath the banner of the greater good. The greater good is their idea of the fundamental increase and help of all. In fact, they are most likely the most like the Covenant in Halo, where they have the overarching prophets, being the ethereals, who are actually kind of dicks and like to pull at strings a little bit, but then you have all these different races directly underneath them, and they all work together in this big group as this large, foreboding race that tries to spread their weirdly pseudo-religious influence across the galaxy. The alien is not intrinsically evil. Do not hate him. Pity him, his ignorance. Seek to understand his differences and equate him with his inadequacies. Only then will he accept his place in the greater good.
Okay.
That is generally the Tau. And if you're kind of wondering like what their mainly big shtick is, well, they're all about big robots and mechs. They have laser rifles and rail guns. They got giant mechs with tons of missile pods and heavy rail rifles and rail guns and burst cannons and ion accelerators and void shields and all this stuff. And that is generally what the Tau's all about. But you're probably thinking, Bricky, this doesn't sound that evil. This doesn't sound very grim, dark Warhammer. And you'd be right. The Tau Empire really don't have that much of a horrifying, grim, dark style like everybody else. They're much more younger, new age thing. In fact, they're probably a lot less evil and a lot even better than they are now back in the day because they liked having like that good guy faction. But a lot of us who really like the dark, depressing style of Warhammer didn't really like it that much. So, see, the Tau get a lot of hate, and a lot of that hate isn't necessarily unjustified. It's mainly from a tabletop perspective, but as you can see from all the visuals I've shown you recently, they don't really fit in the 40k universe very well. They lack that super dark, dramatic, kind of high gothic level.
They're there for like contrast.
They don't have the weird kind of like grungy stuff that Chaos or say the Orks do.
They're there to attract people to the hobby that don't want to be grim, dark edge boys. Yeah. That's what they're for. How can we get more people to buy these model kits and play this game? What about all the people that aren't into everything being sucky?
Dark, bad. Yeah.
We have now an option for you, DEI, woke, good guy, hero enjoyer.
Yeah.
Gundams.
The Tau.
Fish people in a Gundam. I don't know.
Yeah.
That actually sounds cool now that I think about it. But these guys sound like equal opportunity. It does sound weird. That quote was kind of weird. It was kind of like, oh, pity. Oh, you poor you. You're so stupid. You don't know better. You still fight amongst each other. Come over here and we'll show you the way.
Good. Yeah.
And then the government controls your life, but not like a fun way. In like a, you can't have that kind of way.
It's somewhat like a utopian type.
Yeah.
Join our society and be happy.
It sounds like Space California. Like, you could have your electric cars, but how dare you want to drive a 73 big block Mopar? Ugh, you primitive? Don't you know any better? Meanwhile, Orks over here in a big block Mopar, polluting it up. It runs like, rich as shit. It's terrible. Yeah, that's what I need, the Ork magic for my car in the driveway. I need it to run somehow, because I believe. Yeah. I just need more people to believe.
Believe that will work, and it will work.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
As well, the Tau really do look like something out of Gundam, and while it isn't necessarily a bad
looks
thing,
more like BattleTech.
Definitely not fit too well. There's that. There's also the tabletop problem. In tabletop, Tau are horrible at melee combat, but exceptionally good at range combat. So they blast everyone from really, really far away, and they have a million rules to make it so that it's nearly impossible for you to get into melee combat. So it basically just forces you to bottleneck the game into one specific gameplay style, which is gun to gun. And if you're doing gun to gun, they're going to win every time. Because they're the Tau, and the Tau are really damn good at shooting. So it's one of those things that make the Tau generally rather hated, and a lot of different reasons for that, both from style and such. But this is actually one of the things I wanted to end this video with, is that the Tau, while they have their issues, you should not be discouraged from playing them. I'll make plenty of Tau weeaboo jokes, of course I will, but it's all generally in good fun. Anyone who legitimately doesn't want you to play a faction is an idiot, and you shouldn't be giving them the time of day. You pick what you think is
solid advice
and what you like. In Warhammer, especially now, factions get better and they get worse. They grow and then they fall. You should only be playing what you think is cool. You like the look, you like the models. If you're talking tabletop, that is what you should be going for every time, is what you think is badass, because things change all the time. But the universe of Warhammer has so much going for it. Every faction has something interesting, every character has a story, and there's a million stories to be told. The universe is vast and exciting, and while it is dark, depressing, and horrible, that is the damn charm. And out of everything I've told you in these 2 videos, the anything you can take away is the reason why so many of us are so into this series and why we like it so much. Because with so much variety, such an expansive universe, and so much that can be done, you can find yourself having a pretty great time. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it has been informative to you.
Yeah, that was
great. I'm just gonna cut it off where he's thanking us.
If you'd like to see more of me, Bricky, you have twitch.tv/Bricky for my streams. You have my merchandise site in which I was wearing all of my merch underneath this because I had to wear this so it wasn't black or white for the green screen, which is a little unfortunate, but it's fine. If you'd like to see merch, it is in the description. Also, if you'd like to support me on my Patreon page at patreon.com/Bricky for more videos like this, then that would also be wonderful. So Twitch, merch, Patreon, anything if you want to support, that would be fantastic. I'd appreciate it. If not, I'm just stoked you got all the way to the end of the video, and that is enough for me. So I'm going to be having some more content like this out in the future. Thank you so much for sticking around this long and being
watch it all. We will definitely watch it.
That's I think all I got. Also, before I go, let me leave you with my favorite Warhammer quote.
Okay.
He who scoffs at the power of the lasgun has never ran through a field of 1,000 of them. Bye-bye.
There we go.
That's
now
awesome.
You can pause it.
Now I can pause it.
All right.
I didn't know.
Thoughts on the Tau.
The Tau.
Before final thoughts.
I think I might actually like the Tau aesthetic.
I knew you would, you goody two shoes. I actually, as a mecha, I'm an old person, so mecha enjoyer is me. I mean, there's people can see. There's some Gundam prints on the wall back there. I got an RX-78 in the hangar, which is that really dark one. And then a couple of my favorite ones from Wing back there. And I have more in the closet that have not been hung up yet. Yeah. So I am a mecha enjoyer. I like those Tau mechs because they do remind me of the old Battletech and the Mech Warrior and all that stuff. To me, that one that had the big square rocket pods kind of on the shoulder reminds me of the old
that was really cool.
Timberwolf in Mech Warrior, or what was it in Battletech Wildcat? I think I can't remember. I like that. I like that aesthetic more than actually. I think the whole Gundam mobile suit aesthetic. It feels more military, more mechanical, less we're trying to make a robot look like a person, and more like I'm trying to make a robot to kill people. You know?
Yeah.
I think my thoughts on it is, I guess, touching on what he was talking about, how people were like, the towels doesn't fit, whatever.
Well, yeah.
This might be a segue into a final thoughts, though. But it's like, okay, if you look at, let's start with the Imperium of Man, right?
Yeah.
They were expanding. You had the typical AI deal, and they went into essentially back into like a dark age, right? And then now they're kind of coming back. So they're in a much weakened state. They had a rise, they had a fall, and this is like on the rebuild, right?
Yeah.
The Necrons. Yeah. They had started from nothing. Now we're here. Bad stuff happened. They went to sleep, and now they're waking back up. But they're not in full strength. Their empire is over. Their days of ruling the galaxy are over, right? And now they're coming back. The Eldar had their tragedy. They ruled the galaxy for a long ass time. Now they're weakened and in a weakened state. The Craft World guys are trying to be on the come up. The other guys are just fighting and doing terrible stuff to survive. But they are also nerfed from what they once were, right? The Orks, I believe they started off, because he was talking about the Gorks as a greater race. They've kind of been nerfed, I guess. But they have their own problems where they're not interested in that. They fight each other. So they'll never kind of be like, they're not interested in forming an empire. So they're kind of on that same level. They nerf themselves almost, right?
Yeah.
The Tyranids, they just eat. I don't really have anything to say about that, I guess. Yeah. Who am I forgetting? Chaos is chaos. So it'll never be, I don't think, again, it's a similar thing. They're not interested in ruling whatever. I guess their fall would be when they failed during the Horus Heresy to kill the Emperor and take over. I guess they failed, and that's their weak. Now they're in that weakened state, but they're so kind of like the orcs, they fight against each other. They're not unified in any type of way.
Yeah,
they're a threat, but not like the real threat is you falling into chaos and not, oh, we're gonna take over and rule the galaxy, right? Everything just descends upon chaos, and I guess that's like their win condition.
Yeah,
but like the Tau seems like they're on the up. Like, I guess if they're newer, they are on that rise. They haven't had that peak and then that fall. So I guess since everyone else has fallen down and the Tau's coming up, they're meeting in the middle as far as whatever,
whatever they want. They just
for the purpose of conflict and balancing, right?
They got an upgrade through that.
They're still evolving and on their way up as a society or as an empire, as a faction, however you want to call it. But if they're on the rise, people have already peaked and fallen, and then they're getting by, right? So that's kind of like on that even playing field. It's just they haven't had that fall yet. It's what I'm picking up. And maybe that's why they're still clean, as you said. These guys look too clean. Well, they haven't had that fall yet, right?
Even their models and even their very clean lines, which honestly can be harder.
Their tech is still good. Their advanced tech. They have rail guns. They have all kinds of cool.
They're the complete inverts of the orcs. Basically, very clean.
Well, yeah, but I think it's more like the human
conflict.
Well, like the humans, right? Had all this like tech. Well, then the AI, rebelled against or whatever happened, and they've lost their technology. But it looks like these guys haven't experienced a tragedy for their race or faction or empire where they lost their tech. Yeah, they're still all the way up. So who knows what happens by the time we get to Battle Axe? 72K. The Tau might have had that tragedy, now fallen from grace. But they haven't fallen from grace yet, I guess is what I'm saying. And maybe that's why they feel out of place, because everyone else
it's so dark and cringy, and
it's like you're fighting in the gutter, right? Everyone else is fighting in the gutter, and these guys have like running water and plumbing still,
Yeah.
Like, look at these filthy, and I guess that's that attitude there when he had that quote about the pity the alien, whatever, right? Everyone else is down in the dumps fighting each other over scraps of garbage, while these guys are like, sitting in their ivory castle going like, look at the pores. We should go save them with our giant mechs and battle suits.
and incorporate them into our race, basically.
Yeah, the empire of like a
Tau.
It's like a coalition, right? So they have multiple alien races that they've shown the way. I don't know. It is kind of culty.
Yeah, very cool.
I will say I do enjoy the battle suits and their armor and all that stuff looks pretty cool. Any Gundam nerds out there will know, like, a lot of those helmets, I got like Rick Dom vibes from some of them, which I am a Xeon enjoyer. So I'm with, and I would probably paint some up like a Rick Dom or some kind of Zionist theme. I think would be cool on a Tau army. The greens and stuff like that. That'd be sick. What about you? I can just ramble. So what do you think?
Can just ramble. I agree for the most part. Your analysis of each rates rates, and you're right. The Tau sound like the newest, so they're like, oh well, they haven't had true conflict. Maybe by now they have. We don't know.
It's true.
It's been like 5 years since it's.
I don't know.
4 years.
They have more like stories or books about them where.
Yeah. So
I'm sure like with Tau, since there are a whole bunch of different races on I don't know, they had like the elder type dudes. I wonder if there will eventually be, if not already, some sort of they start infighting. Like,
and that would be interesting to see. Maybe we get more.
It's either will be a slave to their technology, classic sci-fi stuff, which is like Imperium of Man, where your AI, the rise of AI and everything. Or from them, I get the holier than thou, we know better than you pores vibes, so they probably wouldn't do like an AI thing. They probably know the dangers of already. But I wouldn't be surprised if it turns into more like not as extreme as the Eldar, but we're so good and we have it so good that we want for nothing. So then how do you keep up with the Joneses and how do you one up each other? You start infighting, my mech suit has whatever.
I mean,
and then what do? How do you prove you have the cooler mech suit or robots? Well, you got to start fighting them.
I mean, that's kind of the pattern that all the other
I would be interested in stories about the downfall of their empire to bring them on the same level as of not like a power level, but like the level of depression of whatever. I think I like the fact that this setting is very much, I feel like it's the story, not the story's over, right? But this is like what happens after the story. Yeah. Right? Okay. All these different empires or factions or whatever you want to call them have the story's over. Their empires have crumbled. Everything is in waste. And now they're picking themselves back up or building themselves back up in a different way. Yeah. But as every faction's doing so, now they're coming into a conflict with each other. And that is interesting. Not that. I guess it goes back to the Tau having like all this tech and railguns. These dudes just have guns. The Orks stuff doesn't even work. The Mechanicum doesn't even know. If we turn it off, it might not work again. Chaos guys are mutating and turning into horrible monsters,
Yeah, through the warp.
Everything. It's like everyone fighting over a junkyard or in a junkyard. Yeah. Scraps of the past. I find endearing or I find interesting.
It's very interesting that the warp did that to the Tau, though. Like, didn't
I don't know.
Corrupt them.
Well, no, I don't know if I'd have to look into it because his wording. So you took it to mean like, oh, the warp evolved them. I took it to mean like they just got cut off and they just evolved because that sector of space was just cut off. And that's how they evolved. I don't know. They were
forced to evolve, and they were forced. And
they came together for whatever, right?
Yeah. So it would be,
and then advance in a bubble,
Oh, and it's on bubble. Okay, maybe that's right.
Do you remember the old episodes of The Simpsons where they had I think it was a Halloween one where he had like the little society living in the petri dish.
No.
And eventually they evolved, and then they all, you never seen that.
No, I'm
you're not as old as
sorry.
Me. I hate you.
Yeah.
It's like evolving in a bubble, right?
In a bubble, in its own.
Because they were protected against like the Tyranids can't show up, right?
No one can.
The Imperium of Man can't come back. They saw them when they were primitives and just said primitives and left. Well, they can't come back to like wipe them out and take over the planets. Yeah, they're just cut off.
We're not going to deal with the sector of space.
They evolved separately, so they were able to build a utopia and come together.
And that's why they're untouched.
Put forth DEI policies and toxic positivity and all the good things that let you have cool mech suits that are painted white.
And very clean. Yeah, lines.
But I would be interested in seeing eventually their fall from grace and then being like in the same
that would be
fighting in the same gutter over the hamburger that somebody threw in the trash.
And see,
I want to see bum fights. Factions. People like bum fights. I want bum fights and homeless people in an alley, just trying to stay warm.
Like. Let's see their downfall and see how.
I just want to see the 90s. React. I feel like this is the 90s. Don't go in that alley. The tower walking by, like, don't go down that alley. Everyone else is already in that alley, like rolling bones or doing whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can tell you that if I bought some Tau models, I'd paint them up, but I'd probably never run them on the tabletop.
Yeah. I don't know. I would definitely probably paint them eventually when I get more skilled.
Yeah, well,
have a couple. But as for running them, I'm with you. I probably never run them.
I've already like I said, I bought 1,000 Suns Combat Patrol like yesterday. So I have thrown my dice. Where Okay, you said earlier that you were probably still thinking either like a Blood Angels, like you're Space Marine guy though, right?
Yeah,
We'll just say Space Marines, and now your struggle is which Space Marine?
With Space Marine, Salamander, Dark Angels.
Luckily, Bricky has a video for you.
I know, and we'll probably
end up watching that
next.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'll go grab a couple slices of pizza and I'll watch that now. But
I know.
What do you call it?
Yeah.
So you're still, even after you're still Space Marines is going to be your first.
I'm still at Space Marines.
I don't think that is a bad choice. They seem very versatile.
I'm very
to learn
versatile,
how to play.
Very straight and narrow. I want to learn how to paint before I get more into.
I feel like
stuff.
Like say if you went like Tau first, I feel like that would have been the same thing as me going like World Eaters first.
Yeah, well,
you're
it's
locked into like one gameplay, like facet of gameplay, melee or shooting, and you don't really have the opportunity to really learn the game.
Yeah,
I feel like that. I could be wrong, but I feel like whatever. Again, though, Homeboy said, "Hey, you pick what you think is the coolest.
You pick
what looks the coolest, what you like the lore of, or what you're into."
But there's a lot of different cool things. So it's like, okay,
yeah, everything is super cool. I love the aesthetics of almost everything, which is why. But I'm drawn to Chaos because they just have that little wild flair of
stuff.
Yeah, more details. There's more details to be had. It looks like they'd be more fun to paint. Although some people might see that as these are the worst to paint. But I like how they're just Space Marines plus.
Yeah.
Pick your normal Space Marine armor. We threw details on them,
and then twist it.
I think that's the same reason like you're drawn to the Death Watch guys, so they have all the Latin on their pauldrons. Yeah. It's like cool. I took this Space Marine and I just added a little bit more to make him cool. A
little bit touch to make him
I feel that way
cooler.
with the Black Templars and stuff like that too. Yeah. It's just like every Space Marine Legion and Chaos has that like extra flavor.
Yeah.
I crave. Like, oh man, I've been looking at Night Lord stuff. Like they're all gargoyles and bats and whatever aesthetics. I'm like, ooh, this is super like 13-year-old edgelord. My favorite color is black. It's so cool. It's so cool.
That's hilarious. Okay. But, I think we call it there.
We're to call it there
before we
I will go eat pizza. My kids probably are hungry. So
yeah. Well,
it is pizza time.
Thanks for watching, guys.
And thanks for everyone listening to me rambling. Hey, comments in the videos. Tell us more about 40K. I love to learn more about it. I will listen. I will what we respond. Got wrong. Tell me what you like to paint. Like and subscribe. All the good stuff. I think we have like no subscribers. Everyone just watches the video for whatever. If you guys want more Warhammer stuff, you let us know.
Yeah, please subscribe.
This is the vehicle just to watch stuff we normally wouldn't watch. It's like a motivation thing. But yeah, if you want more Warhammer than anime, you let me know and I will steer this ship. You know?
Yeah,
or we'll go back to anime girls and their thighs. I don't care.
Yeah, whatever we want to watch and whatever people like watching.
Yeah. So, it's whatever I can force Kenny into watching, really. But right now we're gonna buy plastic models like children and paint them like adults.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But anyway, now we'll sign off, guys.
Yeah, sign off. Turn it off. Close it.
Yeah.
Laters.